Well, welcome in. Thanks for joining me for this hour of mind-blowing content. Do introduce yourself in the chat, but you're tuned in to the Nine Rays workshop, and it's a practitioner path for the new human nervous system. And really, this is for everyone. You don't have to be a healer, or you can. You could be a guide, a facilitator, a coach, anyone who's feeling called to lead the new human age. What the heck am I talking about? Well, we're going to get into it. It's really exciting stuff. Never before have we been on this transition into a whole new dimension. And I want to just, honor the fact that many of us, our nervous systems are overwhelmed right now. And it is not a weakness. It is not because humanity is somehow failing. It's because we are living in an extraordinary time. The collective emotional field is louder than ever. Perceptions are fracturing. Solar activity is at an all-time high. Environmental pressures are coming in nonstop. Technology itself is overwhelming. And the subconscious is being asked to evolve at a speed it has never evolved at before. And I do want to be clear that this is not random, guys. This is prophesied. This is the beginning of the golden age. It's not a mistake. We're not going through something that's wrong, regardless of the fear shadow weavers and the tactics that they're trying to tell us that things are going poorly. They aren't. This is the prelude to the round door era. I call this window of accelerated evolution that's unfolding the round door era. And specifically, it's occurring between 2026 and 2032. So again, your system is evolving faster than your current tools. And this also means that your clients' systems are evolving faster than they know how to handle as well. And that gap, that place where the evolution outruns the method, that's really what we're feeling right now. It's like, uh-oh, oh no. But really, it shouldn't be uh-oh, oh no. It's a calling. And the Nine Rays, I'm so honored to be here to talk to you about it today. Were designed exactly for this window of time. So I want to start with, why regulation is failing. Why? And you've noticed this. I know you have. Adrenal overload, right? People waking up tired, and then they maybe have stimulations to stay wired just to get through the day. We've got emotional hypersensitivity. The tiniest triggers are feeling really, really enormous, aren't they? We've got all sorts of identity distortion happening where people are saying, who am I? Who am I now? And you may be going through that as well. There's collapsing patterns, right? Cycles of shutdown in every segment of our world, governmental, societal, personal, familial. There's timeline wobbles. Something is different, and maybe you can't name it. You may experience what I've been experiencing, which is time warps, where a week feels like a day, and then also an hour can feel like an eternity. We've also got perception fragmentation going on. And this is also not a flaw or a fault. Are you having issues making decisions or holding focus or trusting your intuition? None of this means that you're unstable. It really is part of the upgrade. And without an architecture for the upgrade, that that stabilizes the process, it can feel very floaty. So, you can think about it as like the newest operating system on a hardware, system from 1998. It's not going smoothly quite yet. And traditional modalities are valid, they're beautiful, but most of them are designed for the old human nervous system, right? Not the one we are moving into. which is why there is no tool or hack that you can seem to find. It feels like we're on unstable ground. But all we need is coherence architecture. That's it. A structure that can hold biological, emotional, energetic, and perceptual evolution simultaneously. Sounds like a tall order, but it's not. And I want to just reiterate, this next decade, in fact, 7 years, is so important, because we are passing through a timeline corridor, okay, as we ascend. Timelines compress, distortions amplify before they dissolve, choice points multiply. Your clarity becomes essential. The nervous system becomes the steering wheel of your reality, plain and simple. And what that means is your emotional clarity is going to determine your trajectory. So your perception becomes your navigation system. Don't let it be hijacked. Your coherence becomes your protection and your power, your sovereignty. And most practices, no matter how well-intentioned, are not prepared for this type of people, right? For us, that's emerging. They weren't designed for this level of multi-dimensional pressure that's happening. But the 9 rays are, and they are built specifically for this window, for this amount of emotional bandwidth, light, this level of identity fluidity, this degree of sensory expansion. And it's getting wild, is it? Is it not? I mean, it is. Every day I wake up and go, wow, I'm seeing new colors. I'm understanding new things. I'm feeling the shifts. And there's a wait list to get into to incarnate right now. This is a front row seat that you've got. Your system already knows what era you're entering into. And this workshop, I hope, is just going to give you the language, the framework, and the architecture so that you can meet your evolution and your client's evolution with clarity instead of confusion or overwhelm. All right, so we've named the sort of crisis, which isn't a crisis, and we've named the calling, which I hope you feel, and you're here, so I'm sure you do. But I want to dive into quickly why the tools you've been using aren't matching the moment. And to understand that, there's something I call the triple braid. These are the 3 layers of reality that are operating simultaneously right now. Most modalities only work with 1, maybe 2, but the 9 rays work on all 3. And so to break them down rapidly but profoundly, the layer that's first, not in any order, is simulation architecture, okay? This is the layer of the quantum physicists, the mystics, and the lucid dreamers all are talking about. It's the same thing. It's a layered pattern. It communicates through emotional holograms. What does that mean? Your emotional state is not just a feeling, it's a projected field that changes what you perceive. And this is why when you're dysregulated, life looks really chaotic. And when you're coherent, life looks intuitive, open. And simulation architecture, in case you didn't know, is built on mirror loops. So what your system emits is what your reality reflects back. And if you don't understand that layer, you're going to mistake guidance for chaos and feedback for punishment. And everything's going to be to me, by me, versus through me, as me. Now, the second layer of reality is the biological architecture, right? Dropping into the body. It's somatic. Biology is spiritual. Your body is a liquid crystal instrument, and it holds memory, frequency, geometry. And this is why color affects emotion, emotions affect water, water affects memory, memory affects perception, perception affects reality, and sound rewrites the entire structure. Okay? Your water body includes all of these. I'm not talking about the water you drink, but we do get to program that. But your body itself, over 99% water molecularly, is a storage medium. It's a emotional conductor. It's a telepathic receiver. And guys, I keep mentioning this to all my students, but if you get this, you've got what the nine rays can do. And that is that the body is the veil. So people say the veil is lifting. What they're actually talking about is not somewhere out there. It's not a film out there. Your body is the veil when your consciousness is localized. Me versus out there, right? So what we're learning in the nine rays is to get your body to become the lattice. Okay. And the way we do that is through lucidity. So your body is the veil when consciousness is localized. Your body becomes the lattice when consciousness is lucid. All right. So you're going to be able to, all of our disconnections, a disconnection is a conductivity issue. That's all. And right now we're seeing through a straw. We can't see much. We can only perceive of less than 1% of what is. And so when we become the lattice, we ascend. We have a higher vantage point, not through hierarchy, just through even neutrality, but compassion, expansion, and the awareness that we are all one, not figuratively, but literally. And so the third layer of reality is, so we've got the simulation architecture, the biological architecture. Now we have the soul architecture, okay? And that's the part you've already, you know this, your intuition. You may not have the language for it, but your soul actually communicates to you through dreamtime intelligence. I have a whole nother certification. And it's not a metaphor. That's actually what's happening. Your dreams, your sudden knowings, your telepathy. This is the non-local self. And here's the mind-blowing thing we're going to get into a little bit deeper in just a second. Before you came here, you selected and stored specific tools, specific frequencies, specific abilities. And those are sort of, I like to call you weavers. So these are your weaver genetics, if you will. Light encoded memory that activates when you hit the correct timeline conditions. And that's why you probably have deja vu. I've done this before, or I know this, but I don't know how I know this. And that's your soul architecture activating through the body. So once you understand those three layers, the next piece that clicks into place is that you installed tools before you got here. Okay. It's so divine. It's so amazing. You're not learning something new. You're remembering something ancient. And that's what the nine rays are. It's not a new modality. It's an ancient architecture that does tend to awaken during timeline splits, reality compression, epoch transitions, and evolutionary leaps in consciousness. And I don't have to tell you, that's happening now. That is happening now. And if you're resonating with this type of work, it's not because it's interesting or cool or different. It's because your system recognizes it, your water body, your color body, your emotional body, and it's activating dormant instructions that match your knowing. And so the moment you unlock that framework, it doesn't feel like learning. It feels like I'm remembering. And that's how you know when you're not acquiring a skill, you're reawakening the toolkit that you installed before birth. And so if you're here, it's because the work is remembering itself through you. And it's so exciting. So let's talk about the most interesting piece of my evolution. I started with codes, and then I went into water, and then that opened up the 5 mystic tools, really. And your biology is constantly interacting, reading, translating, and projecting through these tools across every layer of your field, non-local. And so to work with the new human nervous system, you need tools that are going to interact with in that way, that actually work, not how old paradigms are imagined to work or old alchemy, but actual work. They work. So this is where the 5 mystic tools come in. I'm just going to hit these really fast because they are simple, but they do change everything. Water equals memory. You know, water is your internal hard drive. It stores emotion, memory, trauma imprints, ancestral data, instructions. If someone is dysregulated, stuck, overwhelmed, looping, fragmented, it is almost always because their water body is running an old program they never consciously installed. That's why you probably heard of your body being called the subconscious. What is your body? It's water. 99.9% molecularly. So you can't mindset your way out of water instruction. That's why I call it in my book, Light Memory, An Alchemist's Guide to Waterbending, getting all of you on board with all of you, right? Now, color is instruction. It's an emotional timeline instruction. It's not just aesthetic, you know, it's a command. Every color carries a specific neurological and energetic instruction that activates emotion, stability, clarity. It dissolves confusion. It can restore identity and reorganizes emotional bandwidth, and in turn, what you receive in exchange for that electromagnetic exchange. Your thoughts are electric, your emotions are magnetic, and together that torus spin is the law of attraction. So when clients suddenly crave a color or resist a color, that's the emotional body trying to communicate through color. Of course, sound is geometry. Emotion has shape, trauma has shape, beliefs have shape. Sound is one of the only tools that can break apart distorted geometry and replace it with coherent geometry at the speed of vibration. And that's why certain tones just make you cry like a baby, or bring instant relief, or feel like someone just, you know, dropped your soul back into your body. Glyphs. These are ancient, but relatively revived, rehydrated. A glyph isn't a symbol, it's a compressed instruction packet, essentially. And a glyph bypasses resistance, confusion, narrative, cognitive processing. Think about like if you break your arm and you put a cast on. The cast would be a glyph, right? It's a structure. It's a supportive structure helping you to follow the path of least resistance like a laser. And it speaks directly to the subconscious like a software update. Ancient civilizations used glyphs because words were too slow, essentially. And then we have breath and intention. This is like the steering wheel. Breath opens the channel between internal and external. Intention tells the energy where you want to go, but intention alone isn't enough. When you pair it with the correct bandwidth of color, the correct bandwidth of sound, the correct glyph and water, it actually lands in the subconscious. And this is why affirmations fail for most people. Your intention is fine, but your bandwidth is a mismatch. You don't believe the affirmation as if it is so. So it isn't. It becomes more of a block than helpful. And so the key is the 9 rays uses all of these tools simultaneously. And that's why it works so fast. That's why it stabilizes things other modalities can't touch. And that's why clients feel the results instantly, not months later. And they don't dip back into pre-session with you. It's a quantum level upgrade. Now, let's talk about the stress that humanity isn't just stressed. It's really fragmenting. And again, it's not because you're broken. It's because there's a pressure happening. You know, the old human nervous system was not designed for this much light. So with the 9 rays work and using the 5 mystic tools, we can identify and resolve 9 categories of distortion. So these are massive categories, but they show up in almost every person right now who is incoherent. So I'm going to just walk you through them and think about, oh my gosh, if I were able to help someone resolve all of these distortions into wholeness, what would that look like? I mean, just for yourself and your family, it's massive. But inside the certification, you're going to learn about sovereignty distortion. And that's so many people, and even me sometimes. Difficulty holding boundaries, personal power, and really the externalized authority we give ourselves permission to abide by. The second distortion that is fragmenting humanity that the 9 rays resolves is emotional overwhelm. Too much, too fast, without a clear reason. So many reasons for this, but we don't need to dissect them. It gets rid of emotional overwhelm. And in fact, it's not a get ridding. All of these distortions are distortions, right? You are whole, you are complete. It's not getting rid of, it's like static that no longer is affecting your wholeness. The third one is bliss bypass. This one's rampant. I mean, I'm posting very clear things and people are like, oh, don't focus on, I'm like, you are bypassing, right? Bypassing reality with love and light. And, this is creating internal fragmentation just as much as fear. Of course, we have collapse patterns happening all over. This is really flight, frozen, shutdown cycles, and the inability to stay present. There's so much coming at us. The identity loops are also distortions. Who am I now? This is going to become more apparent in the upcoming months, and it's why the Soulprint Harmonic Mapping portion of the 9 rays is so revolutionary. Who am I in a world that no longer looks like the world? And it's happening quickly. So loss of old roles, confusion about direction, and that, of course, if you're not coherent, leads to fear and more distortion. There is power distortion. Oscillating between I'm okay, I'm all good, and total powerlessness. It's like, woo, woo. So there's a power distortion happening. A lot of people's heart fields are scattered. We're having more issues connecting with people, in part through technology. It's really disturbing looking around at the general public. If you're walking around, everyone's just on these devices, totally clueless. Even if they're interacting, your heart field is scattered. You're in the past, you're in the future, you're on your device. So maintaining relational coherence with the rest of humanity is so important. And the heart field scattering is a distortion. Of course, we've got our cute and helpful minds, our prefrontal cortex spiral, overthinking, obsessive loops, decision paralysis, to-dos, all of these mind spirals. It's a distortion. Programming coming in. And the last one is pelvic water stagnation. What the heck is that? Well, you may feel creativity blocks. You may feel sexual energy dysregulation, difficulty with getting motivated, generating momentum, and even just vitality. Some of us are just so exhausted. And so each of these distortions, thank the Lord, has a corresponding dissolution, right? You can get rid of the static. And so each one of the rays neutralizes these at the root, correcting the color, the sound, the water, and the geometric distortion that underlies it. So instantaneous results. And people shift in one session, not weeks. So which distortion belongs to which ray and how to stabilize your system is the certification, essentially. So I want to talk about the harmonic tonics quickly, because it's not just rays and glyphs and water. There are blends of, I call them teas, and it is a tea that you brew in a cup and you deliver to your system. It's got herbal ingredients that already cause visceral transformation, but it's not regular tea. It's tuning energetic alignment. And I call them harmonic tonics, and they're liquid frequency systems. Okay, so each tonic is encoded with color, sound, water, plant, allies, and of course, intention and glyphs. So when you drink a harmonic tonic, you're not just drinking tea, you are consuming a frequency packet. You're literally drinking a stabilizing algorithm. And this is why, when paired with the 9 rays, practitioners are really achieving rapid results. It enters your water body, your nervous system, your fascia, the emotional field. And so harmonic tonics are nervous system regulation, emotional clarity, boundary strength, identity stability, perceptual coherence, and people start feeling like themselves again, and they suddenly know what they need to do. Their body is, getting the right memo. And so they're frequency carriers. And there's 20 harmonic tonics that you unlock when you become a 9 rays practitioner. So why do these tonics matter? Well, I'm going to zoom back out to the what we're faced with, this window, the 2026 to 2032 window, which is called the round door. By the way, I've got a book coming out before the winter solstice, before December 19th. I haven't decided if it's going to be on the 19th or a week before, soon, in a couple weeks, to talk about the round door, because the round door isn't theoretical. It's an era, and it's coming fast. So we need to achieve emotional regulation quickly. Coherence, it has to be embodied. And I don't want to, evoke any fear. We've got all the tools, but this is a straight line path to it. Nervous system has to be top priority, has to be your top priority. And practitioners have to be able to shift a client's state in moments. Talk therapy isn't going to get someone coherent fast enough, not even hypnotherapy, right? Mind work, mindset work, too slow. Breath work, it can help a lot, but it's temporary. This and energy work, of course, can stabilize, a dysregulated water body. But the new human nervous system requires all 5 layers simultaneously, and that's what the harmonic tonics do. They allow you to anchor coherence instantaneously, and it's at the speed of frequency, geometry, water memory, emotional instruction, and intention. So the harmonic tonics, you can think of them as a living extension of the 9 rays system. So they take the color, sound, water architecture of the rays and deliver it through the body's most direct interface, the cellular water. Again, this is why clients shift so quickly, and this is why practitioners feel like they're holding this new kind of intelligence, and you are. It's ancient, but it's new. And we're entering an era where, coherence is not optional, it's survival. It really is. And you, as a practitioner, have the tools through this that meet the moment. So here are some names of some of the teas, and I bet you can guess what each one does. Visibility. The alchemy is from self-doubt to radiant self-expression. Vitality, from exhaustion to energized vitality. Clarity, from confusion to crystalline focus. Serenity, from overwhelm to calm balance. Creativity, from stagnation to inspired flow. Immunity, from vulnerability to protective strength. Totality, from fragmentation to integrated wholeness. And those are just some of the 20, and growing. And you will always have access to the and growing. So let's get into a piece of the puzzle where you're going to be like, oh, this is what I've been missing. And unless you've trained in the 9 rays, you've never seen diagnostics done like this before anywhere on the planet. It's brand new. Well, it is ancient, but it's coming back. It's coming back. So I call it the root third fifth. And I do call it diagnostic, but it's really mapping. And you're not diagnosing anything. Of course, I provide forms for you, for your clients to sign. You're not diagnosing or treating anything. You're unlocking and exposing the root third fifth so that the harmonic mapping that occurs will really decode a client's disharmony and restore it. Coherence restoration. So the root, really think about that. And if you're a musician, you already know this, the origin, the emotion and the expression. The root is where it began, not where it shows up, not where it hurts, but where did it take place in the system when coherence broke, the underlying, this behind chronic, basically. And it might be, well, we won't get into it. The third is the actual origin. That's where the pattern becomes emotional. This is where the feeling the person keeps circling, whether it's shame, confusion, anger, helplessness, numbness, pressure, fear, over responsibility, self-doubt, etc., etc. That is not the cause, it's the translation of the root, right? Where most modalities stop. They try to soothe or reframe the emotion, but the emotion is just the second stop on the pattern's journey. The fifth is the expression. This is where the pattern becomes visible. This is the hey, your body is sore here, right? And it really gets your attention, and it can become chronic if you don't listen to it. But the fifth is not the problem, it's the echo of the root. So the key to all of this is, no matter how complex the disharmony, somewhere in this triad, the root, the third, the fifth, when you know exactly the pattern, if you have two of them even, you get the third. And if you have one of them, you get the other two. You're not guessing. You're not chasing symptoms. You're locating a pattern in the architecture and correcting it. And I'm going to give you an example in a minute. And this really gives you, as a practitioner, the power to create instant clarity. People go, oh my gosh, they cry. I get emails back. People are like, I'm only on page 1 and this is just it. This is it. And so instant clarity, instant grounding, and instant emotional stability. So I'm going to end my screen share and give you an example, because this is all very probably abstract to you, but let's take a real world example of a harmonic mapping session. And then we'll come back to this and continue on. And let's look in the chat here. All right, we've got the south coast of UK. Hello, Tracy. Iowa. Hey, Susan. And Gemma, Queensland, Australia. We've got a bunch of other people who have joined and not said where they're tuning in from. Go ahead and, tell us. I love to see the grid light up. And I'm going to share with you the harmonic mapping example, okay? Now, this is just one example. And there's an intake form, of course, that you'll give people. And so let's just pretend this girl's name is Elena Marin, and she filled this out. You can also get a session for other people. And she has her birthday. What issue or concern, imagine if someone came to you and explained this, and you're like tasked with, oh my God, I have to do something with this. And then I'm going to share with you how simple it is. So what issue or concern is present right now? In their words, I feel like I've been living in a fog, not depressed, not anxious, just detached. I'm functioning, but I don't feel myself. It's like I'm watching my life from behind glass. There's a sense of pressure building under the surface, but nothing ever breaks through. Where is this showing up in your body or life? Tightness in the chest, shallow breathing, low motivation. I've stopped initiating things in relationships. I'm quiet even when I have things to say. My creativity feels locked. My intuition is fuzzy, like the channel is static. When did this begin or become noticeable? It started around late summer, right after a job transition and a move. I felt hopeful at first, but then everything went muted. The more I tried to push myself, the more numb I felt. What emotions seem most connected to this? Numbness, frustration, and a strange grief I can't name. Does this feel inherited, ancestral, or familiar from childhood? Oh yes, my mother often went silent under stress. I remember feeling like emotions weren't allowed. This feels similar, like I'm defaulting to an old survival pattern. How does this person relate to being seen? This person meaning the person who filled it out. For the person who you can fill it out for someone else or yourself. I tend to disappear instead of take up space. I often wait for others to include me. If I feel misunderstood, I shrink instead of clarity. And the final section, what is your current relationship with water? I drink water, but inconsistently. I forget unless I'm really thirsty. When I do drink structured water, I feel clearer, but I don't do it regularly. Water feels like reset, but I forget to give myself that reset. What environment are they or you in most of the time? Bright office lighting, constant screens, digital noise. I take walks in nature, but not daily. Emotional environment is lots of responsibility, high expectations, and little emotional space. Anything symbolic, dreamlike, or unusual that has shown up? I keep dreaming about locked rooms and misplaced keys. Also, vivid flashes of the color teal during meditation, even with eyes closed. What do you sense the body or field is trying to say? Slow down and come back. Stop abandoning yourself. Something wants to be felt so it can move. If already whole and radiant, what would be different? I'd feel present again. I'd speak up without fear. I'd feel color and inspiration returning. I'd trust my intuition and act on it. I'd create again. And then, of course, they filled out the consent and disclaimer, which is really important. Now, what the harmonic mapping reveals. Okay, I'm not going to give you specific ray names, formulas, teas. I'm just going to give you the scope of the remedy so you can zoom out and go, wow, that would be actually what she needs. A harmonic mapping session reveals one thing very clearly: where the pattern started, how it feels, and what it's doing in the field. Then it shows exactly what will restore coherence. For Elena, the mapping would offer guidance in these areas. Her root harmonic shows stagnant pelvic water, ancestral freeze response, sovereignty distortion. So the mapping would suggest interventions that restore lower body water movement, clear inherited silence patterns, reestablish sovereignty in the emotional field, and dissolve the freeze before feel tendencies. It's all about getting the base of her system moving again. The emotional bandwidth is her third harmonic: numbness, frustration, unnameable grief. And the map would recommend practices that increase emotional circulation, tools that help her name what has been suppressed, color-based emotional unlocking, breath patterns that safely expand feeling capacity, and this will gently reopen the emotional body so numbness loosens its grip. The third, ironically, is the fifth. Her fifth harmonic shows muted intuition, creative shutdown, collapse of boundaries, watching life from behind glass. So the mapping would advise techniques for re-entering the body, boundary reactivation, expression-based practices, creativity restimulation, intuitive channel clearing, and this brings her back on line inside her own life. Now, her identity plus agency restoration, the mapping points to a fading sense of self, loss of agency, and passive dissociation. By the way, in case you're like, how the heck am I going to know this? It's so easy. There's a software system that I give you. So the suggestions would include identity field strengthening, emotional truth reclamation, practices that anchor personal will, tone-based interventions, yes, with sound, to remind the field I am, that restores the part of her that decides, chooses, and initiates. Of course, there's going to be an environmental detox and sensory reset because she spends most of her time in bright artificial light, screen saturation, emotional overload. So the mapping would suggest sensory resets, intentional nature exposure, structured water, grounded color fields that lower her field static so her intuition can return. The water body rehydration and flow reset. Oh yes, the mapping is going to give water activation rituals, repattering water memory, consistent structured water intake, combining water, color, sound in specific sequences. And then there's symbol plus dream integration. She's dreaming of locked rooms, misplaced keys, teal flashes. You're going to be able to decode those, that those are signals. And so that you can use specific glyphs, dream decoding practices, and teal frequency environments intentionally. And there's even a purpose and expression realignment, right? The soul is saying, stop abandoning yourself, speak up, feel again. Her harmonic mapping is going to offer a path back to that authentic expression, realignment with her creative truth, and practices for returning to presence, plus emotional coherence work. There's going to be a tonic recommendation that's going to activate vitality, clarity, and movement. And of course, rays, right? A stabilizing ray that restores identity, dissolves stagnation, reopens emotional flow, re-anchors agency, and reconnects her to her intuitive channel. The fog clears, I return. That's the ray that would be given. So there's, water, color, sound, glyphs. And the summary is really fog to flow, silence to voice, disconnection to embodiment, and muted to alive. And that's the outcome that she would be able to feel within minutes when you give her the right ray, tonic, and protocol. All right, so pretty friggin' amazing stuff. Let's get back into the presentation. I've got to find where we were here. And I will alleviate your probably panic with how the heck am I going to know all of this? So, oops. There we go. Sorry, I'm just trying to show presenter view. There we go. Okay. So, how do you know what each person needs? This is what you're going to unlock inside the 9 rays. Besides the philosophy and understanding in a simple way, the science behind all of this. But you're going to have color codices, codexes, I guess you can call them. And it's a complete system: color, sound, glyph, body, practice, emotional alchemy, inversion, purpose, mapping, and integration. So it's a living library also. It will be continually upgraded. I'm not going to go into each of these, but the color, sound, water codex does have exact wavelengths in nanometers, does have corresponding vowel tones, does have specific emotional alchemy, does have body resonance accesses, fascia, vagus nerve, wound, pineal, diaphragm, etc., and mineral intelligences. So even sound, of course, the glyph. I'm not going to go into all of these. There's just too much to cover. But you get the Nui Sound Braid Codex, the Glyph Codex, the Lingua Lucida, the body resonance, and Yeah, I mean, lungs, diaphragm, back ribs. There's a ray for that. Adrenals, kidneys, breath. There's a ray for that. Solar plexus, midbrain. All of these things. Um, it's reproducible, teachable, and incredibly fast. You're not going to wing it. I just want to say that because this does seem like, wow, this is so, there's a sung tone codex as well, right? Um, on and on and on. So you will unlock all of this and it's all very simple. Um, so you don't have to memorize any of it. Ah, doesn't that just make you feel good? That's the reason why I channeled the Anahata codes in the first place. I was into looking at crystals individually, and there was like 30 to 40 attributes for some crystals. And I'm like, how am I ever going to remember all of this? You don't have to, okay? You unlock a practitioner only database that is living, that is intelligent, that is quick, that contains all the rays, the glyphs, the inversion pairs, the tones, the mapping key, and you input and receive. And then your job to discern as a practitioner, the alignment is the polishing act before delivering. But most of the time when I read them, my mind just goes, wow, this is so it, as does the clients. So you're not guessing, you're not scrolling through notes, you're not trying to remember everything. You're using a frequency-backed diagnostic tool that makes the invisible visible quickly, precisely, with stunning depth. And so just know that. Now, there is a second type of mapping. We talked about the harmonic mapping. There is a Soulprint mapping that I'm not going to go into great detail with, but this is really, harmonic mapping is what's happening in your field right now. And this can be like chronic things and issues that are like here, right? But the Soulprint harmonic mapping is your original source code. This is where, as identities collapse and people are going, what is the purpose of life as we're going through this massive transition? It's helpful to understand your original incarnated tone, the frequency that your field was designed for, right? And if you are interested in the gene keys or what's the other one? Human design, this integrates into it seamlessly. So any type of assessment you already have access to in your toolkit, even if it's like Reiki or chakra healing or whatever, this is going to basically plug right into it. So harmonic mapping reveals the pattern. Soulprint harmonic mapping is the purpose of the pattern, right? The harmonic shows the what, your Soulprint shows the why. So you can build either side or both. You could, specialize in, I deal with, chronic, I deal with fibromyalgia. That's my go-to. Harmonic mapping for that. Or, I help people remember their purpose and mission, right? So the point is, they're different but similar. And one repairs the vessel and one activates the navigator. Both of them are essential, right? And you can see how you can start with the harmonic mapping, and as they progress, you can add in the Soulprint. So I do have an example of Soulprint harmonic mapping that I want to share, but we've got to be fast because we've got more to cover. Hey, Dora in Colorado. Hey, Kathy in Illinois. Lindsay in Michigan. Thanks for sharing where you're tuning in from. Okay, so let's go into this quickly, not as not in as great of detail as the harmonic mapping one, because we just don't have time. We have 9 minutes. I want to be respectful of your time. Again, they filled out the form, this Elena Marin, okay? And she listed challenges that she's needing to overcome. What makes her angry or passionate for change? If she could heal one thing in the world, what would it be? If she was independently wealthy, what would she do? What are her secret loves? What have people told her she's good at? What do people come to her for without asking? And if there was a repeating message, what would it be? And what do you know in your bones? Now, she doesn't have to know all of these, but I got to get my cat wants to come in, poor little thing. Come on in, baby. Someone's mowing their lawn and he gets freaked out by the sound. Hello, Baba. Okay, so what clair is strongest, if any? What dreams or visions have you been having? What synchronicities or signs have you been receiving? Nothing is out of, it could make no sense to them, but the more truthful and comprehensive their answers are, the better. And so there's lots of questions. And it's so obvious, the answers. The root pattern is clear. The nervous system, how to get the nervous system stable again. And when you get your inner water aligned with your outer vision, things come to you. People, places, things. There's, it's going to decode what she is, her gifts, how to refine her gifts, how to practice them, how to activate them, how to express them. Even like, oh, your teal gold Soulprint integration. You keep referencing teal and gold. That is clarity, truth, and expression, sovereignty, protection, and higher guidance. And so there'd be coherence tools that braid those two frequencies together. Ancestral silence clearing, right? The root harmonic, she's got some inherited suppression. We didn't read through what she wrote. And then the purpose path stabilization. What are you here for and how are you going to get there? And how to develop her clairsentience. Yeah, all of this would guide her to finding her voice, being seen, teaching emotional coherence, using sensitivity as her genius, activating her teal gold resonance, clearing ancestral suppression, regulating the water body, and standing in her purpose. The arc is disappearing to decoding to transmitting. And it would show every step of that. It's really quite extraordinary. So I'm going to go back to the presentation. Again, that's the Soulprint Harmonic Mapping. And I think I showed you this practitioner software, 2 mapping systems. Here we go. We're here. All right, so let's get into what the certification includes, and then we'll wrap up. If you have any questions for me, I always answer them personally. So that's nice to know, right? I don't have someone answering for me. So you will get an answer from me personally. So what is it actually? It's a practitioner level training, working with the new human nervous system. When you join, you're coming into Cohort 2. Okay, I've already done 1 through 5 as Cohort 1. You have access to those classes immediately. The replays of everything, the handouts, the guides, the practitioner worksheets, the scripts, the intake forms, the software, all diagnostic templates, right? The full codex, the tonic database, all of that. And a seat at all upcoming cohorts. And the next one is starting in January, end of January. So you have time to peruse around, get your feet wet, or jump all the way in. It's nonlinear. You don't have to catch up. You don't have to do the first cohort. You can just come in on the second. Whatever works for you. Loop around, right? And so it's not a professional healing course. It's a professional mastery system for yourself and others. So Cohort 2 is going to reiterate, expand, and evolve the processes that we started with. So when you join this practitioner certification, it's not a one and done thing. It's an ongoing training that will evolve and grow as this grows. Okay? I've been upgrading and expanding, and the curriculum that is going to happen in Cohort 2 is just exquisite. I'm so excited. And we need it because, we're coming into the round door window. It's beginning. And yeah. All right, guys. So the tuition, it is a $3,000 certification. Not every cohort, but once, right? $3,000 for year after year after year training. I am offering 33% off, angel number, for the next 7 days, $1,980 if you pay in full. Now, if you need a payment plan, it's $342 per month for 7 months. You save if you do paid in full because of the accounting system and the amount they take out and all of the stuff, the maintenance fees that go into having a payment plan. Yeah, so once this discount ends, the regular price will be $3,000 and it will stay that way. This is actually, I've enrolled in just breathwork certifications it was $6,000 and it was like, you get in the cohort once, you don't on-go. And also it just, anyways, $6,000 to $10,000 is a normal certification. This is $3,000. So even if you miss the week window, but why would you want to pay more, right? So that will be open for a week if you'd like to jump in now. And again, payment plans are available. So before I close, wow, I can't believe I got that all done in 60 minutes. Woo! Yes, there's going to be a replay. You can come back and you're like, whoa, my mind is what? Just know that I kind of give it all in workshops. The classes are very easy to follow, guys. You don't feel lost or out of it or disoriented. This is literally what I just gave you is a decade of my work in a 60-minute time capsule. So, it does take this strap on, let's go type of mentality. But just know that the classes are very, very integrative. So the ascension window is here, as is the coherence window. And it's not coming, it is here, and you're standing in it. So every week from here forward, the field's going to get louder. Every month, identities are going to get more fluid. Every, nervous system is going to be demanded on more. So don't wait, train now and be the answer because it's here. I've been posting certain things and everyone's like, oh my God, where, how can I do, and I don't have the time to do that many personal sessions. So I'm spreading this to you guys to give you the torch and the tools and the confidence to build your own bliss biz, serving the planet and yourself. And so you're going to need to get tools anyway. Whether or not you join with me, boy, it would take maybe a decade to figure this all out. I don't even know if you would, but it's here already. You can stabilize fields in seconds. You can read emotional geometry. You can dissolve distortions. You can open up bandwidths that change people's lives. You can guide people who are waking up and saying, now what? You can hold coherence when others are collapsing. And this is what the next 7 years is asking for. Leaders, as we hold the round door open with these tools that are going to help you become in demand, not out of ego, it's just we need leaders that understand this, and there's nothing like this on the planet. So have the most magnificent day. If you want to register, go to the 9rayscertification.com, the 9rayscertification.com. And again, for the next week, so the end of this month, the 30th, on the 1st, December 1st, it will be 3K. So jump on in. Payment plans are available. Reach out to me personally if you have questions. Go to the 9rayscertification.com. There's lots more information on there. And this workshop, when I process it, will be on that page. So the only page call to action you need to remember is the 9rayscertification.com. And I will put the link in the description of this video replay, and I will just get you the link right now, and then I'll read the comments, and we will wrap up. And thanks for joining me, guys. I really appreciate everyone who is trying to figure out what's happening and make a difference in the world. Your mission is so important. Thank you. Beautiful presentation. Oh, you're so welcome. Beautiful, light-filled. Thank you. Thank you. This is amazing. Aw, love you guys. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. Love you all. Contact me directly if you have any questions, and I will see you in the certification. And I hope you have a lovely day. All right. Bye for now, guys.